Hey everybody, Gisele Grenier here from artplace.ca. I'm going to see how far I can get with this project before you know who decides to come onto the camera. So for this particular piece, again, working with some more rocks. I've got an abundance of rocks, so I'm going to be doing another rock project that's great for a stocking stuffer, super fast. I keep saying that, but the drying time kind of sucks everything out of it, right? So just do them all, do a whole bunch, and it won't be so bad. I did an experiment on this one. I'm going to show you what I did. I used some interference paint and I liked the effect of this. I wanted to test it first to see how transparent it was on black. This black was made with, this is phthalo blue and carbon black. And this is the, let's see, Decor Media Fluid Interference Blue. But I want to see if I can get the dots to be smaller, so I'm going to splash them to see what I can get. So again, trying to do experiments in all these different things. I've got a rock hit that I already started painting. This one was with phthalo green and carbon black. I wanted to see what I would get. Bit too transparent, so I'm going to try it with raw umber. But I'll call out the colors as I use them. So this is a kind of a teardrop shaped rock. It's got a broken piece out of it here. And what I was looking for was something that would fit. So I picked the stencil, then I picked the rock. So I'm looking, minus the chaos here, looking for something like that. And these would make great little projects just to leave outside in a bag for somebody to pick up. So I'm looking at that. And then I'm thinking I'm going to put a little button on top, which I'm going to paint metallic gold. I'm going to glue it on with E6000. Chaos is here, so I'll have to get rid of her before put her outside the room and close the door, not get rid of her. Don't want to offend anybody. So, and then see, now I'm all sidetracked. Where was I? Oh yeah, so painting the button. So I'm going to paint the rock with phthalo blue and raw umber. This is the Decor Media Fluid acrylics. I'm using the raw umber because it's a bit more opaque. Then I'm going to splash it with interference blue. I'm going to paint the button with metallic gold, and then I'm going to paint the tree. I don't know why I have titanium white. I have it out for a reason. I'm not sure why. I don't know why I have white out there. And then I'm going to paint the tree with phthalo green yellow and Hansa yellow medium. So this is part of my extended palette. This particular project, if you do a whole bunch at once, it goes so fast. So a challenge to you, if you want to try something like this, take 10 different substrates. So take a rock, a mini canvas, a coaster, an ornament. Pick 10 different little things and see what you can do. 'Cause that way, regardless of how you do this, the gifts will all be uniquely different just by changing up some color, but that will be a really good challenge for you. 10 might be a lot. Try 5. All right, so brushes. I've got a large wash glaze brush. I've got a small shader. I've got a round and a little liner. Is it a liner or is it a round? It's a round, small round. Use whatever brushes you have handy. So I already prepped this with gesso. I did the prep work quite a while ago. So I prepped with, and this is 2 layers of gesso, thin, even layers. Then I want to test this with the color. So I'm not liking that color that's there. Roughly equal parts of phthalo blue and raw umber. And it should make a more opaque blue-black. I should be able to, I don't know if you can see, you probably can't see that color there. Yeah. So with everything, base coat, try to do all the rocks at the same time. And I was thinking, Joe was saying, why are you painting rocks for these projects? You could do giveaways and just do it on the small canvases. I didn't even think of it. The rocks are too expensive to ship. I mean, I love you guys, but they are really expensive to ship. That's why I don't do rock paintings anymore for sale. It's kind of hard to justify, $5-10 for a rock and then $15 for shipping. And I just like doing this for fun. You know what I'm doing on the, so you guys know I do the mixed media stuff to keep me sane, just for fun stuff, right? The actual formal stuff that I'm doing, the actual classes I'm teaching, is fine art. And we're working on a heron at a waterfall right now. 16 by 20. It is beautiful, but holy moly, what a contrast doing this mixed media fun stuff versus the fine art. Talk about left brain, right brain. You know how I said the rock was done with the white gesso? Yeah, it was done with the white gesso. What I forgot is that the other side was actually done with black gesso. It was for another video. So what I did is I came in and I put a layer of black gesso on here and then I put the paint. So, because as soon as I put the paint in the back, I went, oh my God, I'm such an idiot. So it was black gesso and then the paint. And then what I did is when I put a second coat on, I put the second coat on with more phthalo blue, and you won't be able to see it, but there's a bit of a hit of blue there. It's really nice. So while that continues to dry, I'm going to paint this little. Oh, this is just what I put on. And while that's drying, I'm going to paint this. Now, if you happen to your button, because it's so small, it's not going to be handled. I'm not worried about sealing it and all that stuff. But if you're not sure if your piece is going to be bigger, it's actually going to be handled, you may want to put some matte medium on there to make sure that the paint sticks to something. So you can put matte medium on there. I'm just going to use the metallic paint as is, and it's just going to be gold. Yeah, I figured that was going to happen. Where are my... I'm an idiot again. You know what it is? It's the afternoon. I haven't eaten yet. Haven't had my lunch. So I'm going to take some masking tape, double-sided. I'm going to stick it down on there. There we go. Now it's not going anywhere. I'm not thinking straight. Not sticking, but that's okay. So I'm just basically getting a rough texture. Now, you know what else you could use? Oh, I don't have any. You can also just put some texture paste around there to make your own button. But yeah, the matte medium, but you can also put the matte medium on there and then use the metallic wax finish. That would actually be pretty. So I'm looking for a rough, there we go, vintage style. So I'll touch, and then we'll let it dry, then touch again to get some texture. I will not use the heat gun on this because these buttons are plastic. All right, that's almost dry. We can probably, go on to the interference part now. So I'm winging this. I have never done this with this particular thing before. Not that I know of. I'm going to put some interference blue on there. You got to make sure you shake it really well. What's the chances I'm going to get something on my sweater? I'm going to load my little number 5 bristle bright. And I am going to use my fingers on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the brush and I'm going to pull my fingers up. You can use an old toothbrush. We don't have any old toothbrushes, so because ours are electric. So I'm going to take the brush. So it's going to face down, and I'm going to do this. That's going to splash on the bottom. Okay, oh, that worked, yeah. A little bit more paint. Do not thin this down. You want to make sure you get it around the sides. I'm not worried about in the middle because that's where the Christmas tree is going to be. You actually shouldn't worry about the bottom either because that's where the snow is going to be. There we go. So we'll see if that, and you know what? If it's not enough, you know what we can do? We can use a little round brush, load it, and then tap, 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 and that'll do it just fine. So I'm going to put another coat of a little bit more gold on the button because it was dry. And I'm going to glue that at the very end. That's going to be my little makeshift star. Little star. Alrighty. I'm going to let this dry for a sec and then we'll put the stencil on. Now for the stencil, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. I'm going to work with Phthalo Green Yellow and Hansa Yellow Medium to make my own green. So if you don't have like the limited palette or the extended palette, did I just get paint on my face? No. If you have something like sap green, Viridian with some type of yellow, you just don't want the green to be a neon green. You can take phthalo blue with a yellow, but that's going to be really intense, so you'll need to neutralize that a bit. So whatever your favorite green is fine. I don't use premixed greens other than Viridian for acrylics. I use the single pigments. You know what I'm worried about putting the paint here? I just don't want to waste another sheet of palette paper. That I'm going to get my sweater into the paint. Joe bought me this sweater because the other cardigan I was wearing, the gray one, that was rough. And I use it in the studio. He goes, Gisele, you're on camera, for God's sakes. He goes, stop being so cheap and just buy yourself another sweater. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to bring that color in. That's nice. No, may not have to neutral. That's why I use the Hansa Yellow Medium. Because it has a little bit of orange in it. It's yellow, it leans towards orange. The green needs to be bright enough because of the black on the tree. If I added to this a little bit of raw umber, it would add a little bit of opacity to that. Just a speck. And bring in a little bit more paint. There we go. Oh, that's pretty. You can always double stencil. You can always double stencil. There we go. That turned out really nice. Are you dry? Yep, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh my God, I love that. Wow. So I like that, but I think I want the dots to be a little bit bigger, you know that? So I'm going to get a fresh brush. Because the other one is in a water bucket. And now you don't have to do this. This is just what I want to do. I'm just going to thin that down just a little bit. Yeah, that's better. Problem is that if you put too much water in that, there, so that's fine. I'm going to take the heat gun to that. So I'm going to get my little stencil brush. You can always add them after. And oh, these stencils, did I cover the stencil? I'm using the Americana Gloss Enamel Stick-On Stencil. It's called Holiday Cheer. So it's got an adhesive. This one's wearing out. So if the stick-on stencils happen to lose their adhesion, you can put a little spray or just tape it with masking tape. No big deal. And yes, you can hand paint this if you want. I just wanted to do something fast. See, when it comes for me painting, because I do fine art, I tend to overcomplicate the paintings. To do something simple like this, for me, I use a stencil. I can't, because I'm always teaching negative space and all that stuff with the trees and that. And I find it really hard to paint a tree like this. Because my art school training kicks in. Can you imagine an artist, let's say like John Singer Sargent or Monet or Picasso, Van Gogh, painting cutesy stuff like this? I don't think they can. I don't think they could. Could they? I don't know. I would love to have seen something like even the Group of Seven. I can't picture Lauren Harris sitting down with a kid and to paint Christmas stuff like this. I just can't. Okay, so I'm going to dry that. And the stencil, all I do is at the end, especially when doing stuff like this, because I do so many, is I just clean it with a little bit of rubbing alcohol. All right, I'm going to take the stencil, I'm going to put it back over. That green is definitely too dark, but that's okay. Because now what we're going to do, we're going to come in. We're going to come in with just yellow. And go right on top. Oh, and I should put some brown out. And then the brown. Oh, am I crazy? I forgot to paint. Okay, I really need to stop saying that I'm crazy. I just forgot. So yellow oxide, which was not shaken properly. Yellow oxide and raw umber. Just a speck. Color that would have been perfect for this. Raw sienna. And whatever you do, do not use a heat gun while you've got your stencils on your piece. I know it sounds silly, right? I had somebody send me a message. I followed all your techniques and my stencil melted. You don't do that. Then take that, just a dirty brush with the yellow oxide mixture. this on the bottom. Lift up. Ah, shoot. See what I did? Bonus points for not swearing. It would have been easier for me to paint this by hand. It would have. It would have. I'm going to come in with just a little bit of yellow. Yeah. Just by hand. There we go. So I'm just going to take that little brush and just going to put little texture parts closer to the bottom. Because the top parts really would be shaded. Here I go already. Talking about shading and stuff like that when you're doing stenciling. Seriously, Gisele. Uh-oh. Can you hear that already? Nice. I'm going to put a whole pile of snow under there, so I'm going to let that dry. And take titanium white. Although the interference, those are really pretty. To really boost it up and to give the tree a bit more oomph, I'm going to take that little number 2, is it a line or around? Number 2 just on the very tippy tip. Put little snowflakes. You know what what is it when you're looking straight? That's not my peripheral vision's here, right? I'm having trouble judging the distance between the rock and the brush. So some are big, some are small, which I guess is no biggie. Meow. And then just, yes, I could have splattered this. Oh, the furnace just came on. And then I'm going to do repeat it again with the interference, the pure interference. Interference blue. Much larger dots. Where did it go? There it is. So in thinking now, I should have left the second splatter of interference in the background. I shouldn't have done that one. And then just do a splatter on this one here because I'm putting it on the tree anyways. I can't see. When you put these on, it's hard to see. You can even put little Christmas lights on here. I'm going to dry the base of the tree. I'm going to take some white and I'm just going to roll it. And just feather that out a bit thinner. Bring that up a little bit more. Like that. I just want to be more transparent on the bottom. You probably can't see what I'm doing. So it looks like a big net. There we go. There we are. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that top part's dry and then we'll just glue on the little button. I showed Joe, said, what do you think of these big white snowflakes on the tree? He looks at me. He knows what I'm asking. He goes, really? It's like, okay. Like I said, doing cute stuff like this is so hard for me. So I've got my E6000, my little button. I really gotta find my Q-tips or my tweezers. Oh, you know what else would be neat? See, this is where I keep telling my students, stop, let it sit overnight and see what happens. to take some gold now and just go around the tree to make it look like a glow. That would be kind of cool. Not gonna though. Gonna leave it. Gonna put a little bit more texture in there. And that's it. So this is finished. So from this point here, that depending on what you're gonna do with the rock, you can just leave it the way it is. I'm gonna let my pieces sit. All the pieces I'm making, I let them sit for a couple days, and then I varnish it. So with this one here, because I have the interference, you don't want to go with a matte varnish or even a satin. Satin might be okay, but you want to go with something with more of a gloss because you don't want to lose. You don't want to mattify the interference. But there we go. What do you think? Give me a thumbs up if you found this entertaining, and comment below what you thought about it. Have you ever made little rocks like this? I would love to see your take on this little project. So what to do is I'm also going to be linking my blog post, the post to my blog, the link to my blog with this project, where you can actually comment on the bottom, and you can also upload your own picture just so we can all get some ideas of what we're making. Alrighty, so another one bites the dust. So I'm going to clean up, and then I'm going to go and finish up the other little project. So until I see you in those lessons, stay inspired.